a baby isn't born with good or poor attention skills, with good or bad impulse control, or with, it's like, how do you heal that? Ayahuasca can definitely help with ADHD. Chaos in your apartment, 100 things on your to-do list, 1,000 things on your mind, and you feel overwhelmed with your ADHD. You might be asking yourself, is ayahuasca a possible solution? And I can tell you about my journey with ayahuasca and how it has impacted my ADHD. So my personal story is that I would say it started with denial, as in all of my friends have ADHD. It's something which is normal. Nobody can focus in today's world by being on social media. Our attention span is just messed up. And that's just kind of how life is. I also didn't want to define myself through a mental condition or whatever and give that mental condition power over me that I cannot do or accomplish certain things. And also when things are going well, I feel like I have a lot of energy to handle a lot of things. But obviously, if it's like one feels down, when there's like a more difficult moment in one's life, one realizes like, oof, there's like so many things I'm doing all at once. This is like, it's a bit crazy. And then I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who I really respect. And he talked to me about his understanding of ADHD and how it has helped him. And it's not about putting oneself in a victim mentality, but more about that there are certain ways that one's brains works differently and understanding those mechanisms and how one can improve one's life. And he recommended a book by Dr. Gabor Maté, A Scattered Mind. I love Dr. Gabor Maté, and it's very interesting that he also wrote about the topic. And he says that ADHD is in many ways underappreciated, misdiagnosed, also overtreated in many cases as well. And there are certain genetical predispositions for ADHD, there are certain chemical imbalances, but there's especially certain environmental situations over the last maybe 20, 30, 40 years why it has been so much on the rise. So ADHD is defined by poor attention skill, also lack of impulse control, and also hyperactivity. And if you look at like that environmental aspect, what has happened? Well, if you think about us humans, we come to this world as babies, and as babies, we are so dependent on our environment. Whereas if you look, for example, a horse once it's born, or many other animals, they are born in a very developed state that like a horse can start walking right away. Like nature requires animals to be able to function to a level of degree once they come to this world, where as babies we really don't. All we do is like our parents take care of us. And also if we think about it, a baby isn't born with good or poor attention skills, with good or bad impulse control, or with hyperactivity. It's something that develops or doesn't develop. And one thing which is crucial for a baby's development is called attunement. Babies, also like small kids, they're very scanning their environment, what is safe, what is not safe, and they also depend a lot on their primary caretakers, on mothers in many cases, to have that level of like when they're happy, then seeing like the mother happy and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, what has happened over the last 20, 30, 40 years is that parents have gotten more and more distance, returning to the workforce a lot sooner. And also that level of emotional overwhelm that many parents are experiencing, single mother households, many different things that through that emotional overwhelm, the mother in many ways doesn't have the emotional capacity to give that level of undivided attention to the baby. And when the baby doesn't feel that attunement, I mean, we hear that we are either in fight, flight, or freeze response. And if that happens with a baby, it's kind of like the brain starts to shut off, and certain areas of the brain don't develop the way that they need to. And by lacking that attunement, that development of the brain isn't happening the way it's supposed to. Okay, so now we know the origins of ADHD according to Dr. Gabor Maté, but what can we do about it? And there are various things that he recommends. One is mindfulness, increasing compassion for oneself, also healing those early childhood wounds. Another one was to create a more structured day for oneself. Physical activity is also something that can help regulate the nervous system. And then how does ayahuasca come into the mix? Well, one can definitely heal early childhood wounds with ayahuasca. There's just like certain things that, if you think like, okay, I didn't receive that level of attention, care, love that I wanted to as a baby. It's like maybe my mom didn't breastfeed me, and she just wasn't. And it's like, how do you heal that? But like through ayahuasca, one can feel that level of unconditional love, that connection to one's mom, all those kind of things. Um, Ayahuasca can definitely help with that, and with mindfulness as well. It brings a lot of awareness to our life. And then the other thing is, structured activities and routines. That's something that, we need to take care of ourselves, and also physical exercise. I guess ayahuasca can help with, getting us out of our routine, experiencing an emotional impact, and then going back to our life. We can have that neuroplasticity to be able to start changing things. Also, through the neuroplasticity, the dopamine levels are higher as well, which helps people with ADHD. So ayahuasca can definitely help with ADHD. However, I've been drinking ayahuasca for 5 years now, and I can say like I still have 3 different pages open, 20 different tabs within 5 minutes of opening my laptop. So I cannot really say that ayahuasca has significantly helped me with my ADHD, but there's also certain things to look at in my specific case. And the first one is that in some ways, I actually enjoy being like that. I like having ADHD. It makes me feel free, that I can just be myself and do whatever I want to. If I don't like a situation, I can even just like go into my imagination and be within myself. So it's like, I mean, I also know that having 100 unread messages and 10,000 emails which are unread is not helping me either. So obviously there is something that I want to improve as well. But again, that desire needs to be big enough, which personally I like haven't suffered enough, I guess. And I think that's also shows a good way the mechanism of ayahuasca as well, that you can drink as much ayahuasca as you want, but if you don't want to change yourself, in reality, nothing will change. It did help me understand a lot more about myself, and also creating structures, also knowing what type of person I am and what kind of people I need to surround myself with to be able to finish certain projects as well. Mm, but I guess I hate to say it, but it's all a process, right? It's not that you drink ayahuasca, it's a magic pill, and now your ADHD is gone. But again, there are some fundamental things that it can help with. But again, it's also good to know that ayahuasca is one tool, and then also have other tools as well, to help put our life together in the puzzle that it makes sense to us to unlock what we need to unlock. If you have enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment about how you feel ADHD is affecting your life, whether it's positively or negatively. Let's have a conversation about it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.